And we're back. You are listening to the Exitology Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show on the International Business Growth Radio Network. I am joined here today by Jen Thompson, Principal Consultant at Vital Solutions and an expert in post merger integration and value creation. And Jen, we've been talking about a lot of really interesting things. Everything from how to protect your human capital and integrate it into the new business. We've talked about why that matters from just a financial and transactional aspect, and we've also talked a little bit about why that matters just because we care about human beings and we don't want their life to be horrible. And so in a moment, we're going to talk about technology integration and rationalization, and you and I are probably going to geek out pretty hard. But before we do that, can you tell us a little bit, where can we find out more about Vital Solutions, and just tell us a little bit about your role there, and if somebody is intrigued about what they're hearing here, can they find out more about you and Vital Solutions?
Yeah, so we're actually a Denver-based boutique consulting firm. We are pretty small, but we are mighty, and we work with many partners and subcontractors to support our clients. But you can find us at vitalsolutions.com. And we do focus on post-merger integration and technology due diligence on the pre-sale side. I actually run a practice area around project management office optimization and maturity. And then we also do large system selections and implementations for things like ERPs or CRMs, things like that, and can also supplement any kind of staff augmentation needs around project management too.
And tell us how to spell Vital, because it's not spelled.
It's little funky. It's VITL Solutions.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that with everybody, because it's you can hear about all these best practices and things you should be doing, but if you don't know how to actually just call somebody up and know that there's somebody who knows how to do this, a lot of times, oh, thanks for the great information. Now what do I do? So it's great that you shared that with us. Tell us about technology integration or rationalization. Let's get our IT geek on for a little bit.
Yeah, so this is a thread that definitely goes throughout all of our different initiatives. I mean, technology is involved in every function of the organization these days. And if you are thinking about this in terms of mergers and acquisitions, or, for example, carve-outs or tuck-ins, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, if you're not thinking about the technology in advance, then you're going to likely run into some risks down the road in terms of some pretty large bills potentially, and costs related to, over licensure, extensions of contracts, or even security risks. And so what we like to do with clients is assess that and help them, with their vision of what it looks like moving forward.
So some of it's kind of obvious, right? Like, two organizations merge, and now I have twice as many seat licenses for, I don't know, Windows or whatever, or, too many Office licenses, and, those kind of things, which, the accounting department can kind of help you figure that out and sort of say, hey, there's a redundancy here, let's figure that out, no big deal. But what's more of I want to hear some sort of juicy disaster story of where somebody went in there and thought that they had it all together, and then all hell broke loose, because it can go fast and bad with technology issues.
Well, so, I mean, right now I'm working with a company that I wasn't part of the pre-sale side, the pre-deal part of it. So I don't know what level of diligence they did around technology, but a couple of examples, they did this disposition analysis of what technology needed to be transitioned into the new company or the existing company. And they looked at the function of one of the systems that they were using. They were paying, I think, probably $10,000 a month or something like that for a portion of a technology system that they were using for a certain number of licenses. And then moving into the other company, they were like, great, we use the same the same technology. It'll be a natural transition,
Mm-hmm.
no problem. Well, once they figured things out, they realized that they would have to start paying $400,000 a month or something like, or annually. I don't remember what it was, because they were expecting them to use the entire suite of functionality. And so there was a huge cost implication of that transition. And that's in this same company, we're trying to also figure out, the very specific field mapping and touch points to build innerware or middleware and bridges between the systems.
Mm-hmm.
So that manufacturing operations doesn't, stop immediately.
Right.
And then let's see, one more example. In terms of security, if that security diligence isn't done thoroughly, there could potentially be a lot of risks involved in that. The same company, again, that I'm working with, there's a system that they're using for managing engineering development.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a security breach with it. Well, the acquiring company has decided to cut off all domain interaction with that system. And so there's not good information flow and technology flow. So the company that had the security issue is now having to manually manage these processes, which is
wow.
burnout and attrition. It's just
Right.
like, it's very cyclical.
Wow. So
So
so yeah, it's like the more things change, the more they stay the same, right? You can just we're back to paper and cuneiform almost in some situations.
exactly. Yeah. It's, unless you go through and you really kind of understand that technology architecture, understanding those redundancies and those security
Mm-hmm.
risks, um, you can end up either paying more or having some pretty concerning regulatory or compliance issues on your hands.
So I'm curious about that. Some of the verticals that we typically serve here at Extology include industrial service companies, manufacturers, construction firms, and things. Think people who hold the built world together, and we've probably worked with them at some point. And so they all need some type of technology. However, most of the areas that we play in are not like super highly regulated, like say like a healthcare company or something like that.
Yeah.
Could you speak to some of the areas in like what are the verticals that Vital Solutions typically plays in?
We're actually pretty agnostic.
Okay.
We are industry agnostic and technology agnostic. We use, our foundational process is really making sure that there is good sponsorship, there's good governance and risk escalation management and decision management in place. And so we manage kind of that gap between the leadership, the strategy, and the execution,
Cool.
and making sure that there's good continuity between those efforts.
Well, and I see we were talking about the people aspect of things a few minutes ago, and I see that you're taking a parallel and integrated path between both the people part of the integration, which is to say create the future state org chart, and you're also taking a technology architecture and technology workflow aspect so that it all comes together, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like my two brains, love this work because I am an artist, I'm an engineer. It's awesome to be able to work with people on translating what the business need is into the technology requirements, and just making sure that people are set up for success in their day to day.
Yeah, and I think that's really awesome, and it's a really unique combined skill set that you have because. And we'll talk about this in a little bit when we talk about the Women of Mergers and Acquisitions Network, but I can really sense a very strong human-centered, heart-centered vibe, and at the same time a very left-brain practical architecture acumen coming across here as we're talking about this. And that's a great combination because in my experience, that sets people up for success in a very real, tangible way.
Absolutely. I think, from my perspective, project management, program management, 80% of it is art and 20% of it is,
Mm-hmm.
the rigid execution of it. But knowing how to work with the people and then connecting that to the, hey, let's get things done
Yeah.
and make sure that you achieve your goals. It's an interesting skill set to have, but I love it.
So for our listeners, if they're thinking about, hey, look, we are going to exit this business here in the next 3 to 5 years, and you know, we've obviously technology is a part of what we have in the business and part of what supports what's going on here. Do you find people, if they're in that stage of the game, should they be adding complexity or should they be simplifying and streamlining?
Oh, that's such an interesting question. I was just thinking as you were asking it, I was thinking, it may be better for organizations to lean their technology stack.
Sure.
However, if part of your technology stack is supporting your product development, for example, and your engineering, tools, and you have it really well built out and architected, that is absolutely part of your value proposition that you're trying to
Right.
say it well. But the key is that it's well architected and there's, minimized security risks, things like that. And if
Mm-hmm.
you can articulate all of those, then you can build that into your value proposition for your acquiring companies.
Very cool. So the answer is it depends.
It depends, but I would say, for business process technology,
Mm-hmm.
it's likely that the acquiring company will already have a lot of that business process technology. So you could reduce your costs
Yep.
and increase your value proposition.
Perfect. Well, Jen, thank you for sharing all this. This has been great. Folks, you can hit exitology.com, click contact us, and request to join us live for an executive briefing, and we will answer any of your Q&As in real time after we share our business growth model with you. You've been listening to the Exitology, Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show here on the International Business Growth Radio Network.